let's go.
everyone. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Tales of the Towers. This is episode number 23. Hello, Nico. Hello, Arno.
Oh yeah,
And this is
Hello,
me,
Noemsie.
Noemsie. Okay, we've
Yeah,
recently had some downtime and unhappy clients, and we had a lot of phone calls coming in, WhatsApp messages, and it was very sad to tell people we are sorry the whole time. People are getting tired of hearing sorry, but there isn't another word to say except sorry, and we apologize for everything we've been going through. But it's going to be better after today or a week or so.
it's actually amazing that this has been going on for 11 days. All of
yeah,
the issues that we've been having. It started long before that with our fiber provider, who basically just has a single link, no failover, no redundancy. And they sent us a email to say that they're upgrading their lines. They needed to go from, I think, 10 gigs to 100 gigs in our area because there was a big ISP in Maputo that needed a 100 gig link. So they were upgrading us. And the very first time that they started the upgrade, we went down for hours and hours and hours. And then I started getting fidgety. And then the second time we went down was, I think it was the 6th of July. I remember that date because it was the first Springbok Island test. And they were already finished with all their work that they were doing at about, what was it, 5 o'clock in the morning, Niku?
yeah.
Um, and our fellow ISPs that use the same line, they were up and running. We were not. We contacted our account manager and basically WhatsApped her and phoned and wanted to find out what was going on, only to about at 1 o'clock in the afternoon to get a message that, in very fancy words, said that they unplugged us. They forgot to plug us back in after the upgrade. So that infuriated me, and I told our account manager I will be driving through to her on Monday. I will be seeing her at 11 o'clock, and I demand an explanation. And I demand to know that this will never happen again. Drove all the way through to Johannesburg, and obviously from 6 o'clock in the morning, my phone calls were just ignored. And when I arrived at our suppliers' offices, their big, fancy, nice offices, I was stopped by the security guard only to be let known that she wasn't there. And that is when I kind of exploded, and she took leave for the day. And then I drove probably about 400 meters to one of her competitors, was welcomed with open arms, taken for a tour of the building, and met the staff members and the people that we'd be working with, and signed a contract then to have a backup fiber supplier in Tonga Mall. Now, with what we're doing at the moment, I don't want to get into too many technical details, but there's in terminology that we use, there's a layer 2 and a layer 3. Layer 2 you can see as the cars that's sorry, the highway, that the fiber is the highway, and layer 3 is the cars that drive on the highway. The moment you start putting data packets on a network, you go to layer 3, out onto the internet. And these guys just suggested another way of doing things, but to do it that way and to have proper failover between the different fiber links, we had to reconfigure our entire network, which is massive, more than 1,500 nodes that we had to manually log into and reconfigure. And every time that we logged into these nodes, the node would go off because we had to reboot the node. So that's the client radios that were rebooted, and obviously the clients felt that and weren't happy about that. Niku has a very nice analogy, which he'll explain now. But the bottom line is that we managed to get a failover fiber provider in the area. And what's nice is the way that we're doing it now is we can just plug in additional fiber providers into our network now. Nico, I like your analogy with the ESCOM
Yeah.
generator.
Um, so, but basically, what we've gone and done is for the first 9 years, and I know myself and Arno pride ourselves as two very smart people, and We're very proud of what we've built. And so we met this guy called Peter. And if we call ourselves engineers, this guy is like a genius rocket scientist, to be honest. And basically, with his help, we've had a big highway, um, and Peter also said that's the way he built his first two wisps like this. So we did nothing wrong. It's just there's best practices. So sending packages on this or having cars drive on this network, we had this big highway without name boards, without turn-off signs. If you drive on the endpoint, you take a right to go to Kumatipur. We didn't have that. So everything was just flooding over the network and it worked. Getting to the size that we are and obviously putting on another source. So think of it this way. If you start your generator and the ESCOM power is on and you plug that generator plug into your house, you've got two electrical supplies and something's going to explode. And
which happened.
which
happened.
happened 2 or 3 times. Luckily with data, nothing explodes, but everything stops working. So what we had to basically do between Arno, myself, and everybody else, between their normal work, jumped in and still day-to-day running was done. Everybody jumped in. We changed the whole network scheme. We labeled every turnoff, if I can put it that way. We had to upgrade so many hardware routers to be able to handle that.
Ouch. That
And
was sore.
long and short of it is now every main tower has got a router that's keeping track of where the packets needs to go. We've been able to install our generator, if I can put it that way, have that source on the network itself. And now those smart routers are sitting and watching if a link goes off and it will reroute the traffic. Having a traffic cop and say, oh, listen, this road's closed, you have to take another road. So it's been rough. It's been late night. It's been uh, pulling our hair out trying to find little faults because now you're sitting with a router trying to think what's the best path. And sometimes things are just a little bit slow while it figures out its a routing table and OSPF routes. So in essence, there was teething issues, I think, with every big project. But I'm still very, very proud of with everything that happened. I think our lowest uptime on one of our sectors is still sitting at 97%, Arnie. Am I right?
Yeah, no, it's around there, but not good enough. Look, I must give a shout out to Peter Kutsia from Supplies and Networks. He came in and out of his, it's just so interesting that these guys with all the knowledge, how freely they share it. And he actually joined our techCONNECT Teams WhatsApp group so he could look at the comments and see what problems the guys were having and fixing it as we were running. And the worst is, he told me, his words were, there were going to be teething problems. Are you willing to do this? And we said, for the benefits that we're going to get out of this, let's do it. Let's go. And also, as the network progressed and we were upgrading, and the negative Google reviews start coming in, and you get the sinking feeling. And shout out to our clients that stuck with us and still stick with us. We lost one. We lost one client, and I can understand, Nico, you had a long phone call with a client and tried to explain it, but just it wasn't good enough. I accept that it wasn't good enough. It's frustrating if your internet goes down, if your business depends on it, and that's why we're doing this, is to ensure that we've got the most stable, fastest, and cheapest network in the Nkomazi area. And we had to grind our teeth and get through this exercise. Very little sleep for the team, very little sleep for the Arabians, Noemsie and Tandi. Thank you for handling this like pros, and I know you get sick of apologizing. But today, I can honestly say that we're sitting in a better place. We're sitting in with a quicker network, a more stable network, and a network that we can expand more easily. We can plug in those extra ESCOM generators without blowing up anything. It's an intelligent network that can work on its own. And I must just once again apologize to our clients for everything. It wasn't just the upstream fiber provider that dropped us. It was a lot of stuff on our side that we had to do as well and get working properly. These type of things you can't do after hours. Unfortunately, you have to do it during office hours, work hours, peak time traffic, because there's just too much work. It would have taken us a year plus. So we just bit the bullet for 11 days, worked nonstop, and got everything up and running. Spent a lot of money. Guys, for all the future wisps out there, start your network as we did. It's fine. But be prepared once you go layer three. Once you go to a routed network, be prepared to spend a lot of money because the equipment is expensive. I had to borrow some money from my wife and everybody that I knew. But we're going to get through this. I think Samantha, our CFO, kept on trying to tell us, "Are you sure? Are you gonna do this? Okay, let's look at the projections. The projections look good. Okay, you can go buy this, buy this, buy this." So it was hectic, but we've gotten through, I think, 95% of it. We've got one or two more little things that we have to do, but after that, we're gonna be rocking. I think we're gonna be excellent. We're at a much better place than we were.
Well, definitely. Uh, and I mean, to be honest, this is something that we've actually been planning for the last 3 years. We've been
Three
talking
years,
about
four
this is the
years.
next step, 4 years. This is the next step. This is the
Mm.
next step. And we've been close 3 times to do this. We've had
Mm.
fiber second fiber links in, and they were just as unreliable as the first one, or they had the same, not
Mm-hmm.
unreliable. They had the same downtime. And touch wood, so far, what we've seen, if we off in commodity, Tonga is up, Tonga's down,
Mm.
commodities up. So that's all. You're never going to have a 99.9% supplier. That's impossible. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
um, us as a supplier, we try to get there, but obviously we also get the internet from somewhere. So um, it's with technology, nothing's 100%, but you
Mm.
at least have a backup that's on when the other one's off. That's the
Correct.
major upside here. And as Arno is saying, is the two things are happening now. Is we can get extra sites with fiber. We could actually go and have fiber directly on a tower. Uh, so we can have 3, 4, 5 different sources. Then what this is also allowing us to do is in networking terms, you try to build a spider web. Initially, when you start out, you build
Mm.
a spider web. So you have open ends. You don't close the network, because as soon as you close it, then you create the loop for that information. Again, back to the highway that doesn't have name boards. So if you close, you put a circle in that highway, that information is just going to keep on circling there because it doesn't have a name board where to go. So with what the
Mm.
changes we've done now is, with everything having a name board, we can start closing our network, which will then allow on our internal network the routers to find a shortest path to the internet, to one of the sources. And that obviously increases
Mm.
your speed as well, and throughput. So let's say you've got a backhaul that's very busy and it's in peak time, that router will actually send some of the traffic another route. So you won't have that
Mm-hmm.
congested feeling when everything in peak
Mm-hmm.
busy hours.
Yeah, basically we don't have all our eggs in one basket, and we're spreading the risk now. So the risk has been spread between two different long hauls or fiber links. The plan is to spread that risk between four, a minimum of four. Four can't go down at the same time. It's like going into the deep sea with one single four-stroke motor. You don't do that. You have two motors, always two engines on that boat. Now we've got two. We want to get that to four. So I see Noemsie has disappeared. I guess she's on a support call. It's been rough. I don't want
No, just
to
quiet.
stretch this out too long. Has it become quiet?
Now I'm just learning things that I didn't know, also
Okay.
learning, adding to my
Uh,
brain.
Arno, Noemsie, there's something else. Obviously, this has been a learning curve for the two of us. And then Noemsie, again, I think we've a few podcasts ago in the early teens. We actually, or it was some of the initial first ones, we actually spoke about how many times we've changed systems, and then Noemsie, and then, oh, another system, another system. This was a little bit bigger than just a system change. This is naming
Mm,
conventions. And again, we did these changes on the fly as we work. So yesterday, Noemsie was used to giving a certain address range to a new client that we install. So we're doing changes. The technicians in the field are still installing. That didn't stop. And now all of a sudden, poor Noemsie has to stop the show. Like, I don't know, Nico, I know you're busy with upgrading this, but I need to add a new client. You guys haven't given us training yet. So that was on the fly training for them as well, which has been seriously impressive.
mm,
How everybody's just stepped up to the plate. This team, this family that we've got here is seriously insane.
mm.
But
Thank you,
that's the
guys. Look,
nice part
uh,
of being part,
mm,
because every day you learn something. You're not always sticking to the same thing, always just have to log tickets. Learning curves are actually
mm,
something good. You learn, change. You have to know that they must be changed. Everything doesn't have to be always the same.
yeah, this industry is not static. And just to give you an example, we've gone from one spreadsheet that our staff could have a look at for reference to 45 different spreadsheets. 45 spreadsheets that they have to reference now. It's become a lot more complex to them, but the entire flow and the planning and the entire network's tons better, much better.
Uh, just like to pop this in here. So myself and Arnu are on different with Facebook pages, and I'm on a few American pages. And I actually, we with part of this upgrade, um, I don't want to share that photo. So Sandro sends us a photo of the setup with our batteries and our routers. So it's a plastic container, right? And how long have we been running like that?
Since
4 years?
before COVID.
Yeah,
Yeah.
before COVID. So that was a rush setup in COVID, if I'm not mistaken. So we've been running in a plastic crate, all the battery backups, the routers, the switches, everything in this plastic crate. Now with the price
And
of the Mikitic routers that we're installing, Sandros was like, no, we can't put this in the plastic crate. So we put up a big enclosure. And busy with that, seeing the photos that Sandro shares, I see on Facebook this one guy in America post this small little box they've got up against a gum pole, uh,
mm,
and all the wires are peeling out on the sides. And his post basically says, "Plan your enclosures for the network you want, not the network you
mm-hmm,
have."
mm-hmm.
Because
That,
you outgrow what. So that's a nice little tip for anybody else starting out and watching our little story. um, on your IP addresses, plan for the network you want. On your enclosures where you put in your switches and your battery backups, plan for the network that you want, not that you have currently.
It's just interesting how Block B went from our least insignificant, smallest site to the most significant, biggest site because it's next to Tonga Mall where our new fiber provider is. And now we have to upgrade that entire site. Yeah, how things change. So I think just to end off, I just want to say once again, I apologize. Um, the work that we've been doing has been to make the network better. And we're going to see the fruits of our labors pretty soon. And now we've got the opportunity to grow and go big. I have tons more confidence in the network that we have now. I've got tons more confidence in the failover. It's not there yet. I feel 70% of where it should be. The next 30% is going to take a couple of months to have another a third and a fourth failover fiber provider. And then we're going to be covered. Then we can go. And then obviously, I think we've got some. I don't want to.
No.
speak out of my turn, but
No.
we're going to have more data, and more data means economies of scales, and economies of scales means cheaper internet. We'll announce that pretty soon.
Yoo-hoo! I wish I can move to techCONNECT. I'm tired of where I am. This is not fair.
Shame.
The other day, I'm
Shame,
looking
Noemsie.
at how you guys are checking your speed. This is so great. And I'm like, oh, you guys have fit and rabbit in. This is not big fair.
Shame. Yeah, look, let's just not fall into the trap of resting on our laurels. Let's just keep getting better, 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 better. Even the 1% improvements make a massive difference. So, Noemsie, we'll get you sorted out pretty soon. Don't worry.
Awesome, guys.
Okay.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, we'll
Thank you.
chat tomorrow, and good luck to Tandi, who's got her induction course at university tonight. You've got a rough year ahead of you. Good luck with your studies, and thanks to the team. Thanks to Splicer Networks for helping us, and Eugene and his family in Pretoria. Good luck, guys, and thank you once again to Peter. We owe you big time. He's on his way. He's coming to visit, and I think we'll entertain him for a couple of days.
Definitely. All right, guys. Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers. Enjoy the
Cheers.
evening.
Night
Bye.
tonight. Bye.